You end up having to sometimes take out credit card debt or, a second mortgage on a home to make your business work. And those are the points where you really find out what you're made of, what you believe in, and your passion for what you're doing.
That's Brandy Burch, a trailblazer in employee benefits and health insurance. She's the founder and CEO of BenefitBay, and she brings 2 decades of expertise in finance, technology, and human capital to the table. Her journey from single parenthood to entrepreneurship adds a unique perspective to some of her innovative solutions. You're listening to Dear Human Resources, and I'm your host, Marilyn Germain. In this episode, Brandy is going to discuss how she balanced single parenthood and starting a business. Welcome to the show, Brandy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about your business, BenefitBay, and when you started it?
BenefitBay is a technology platform that is solving for personalized choice with employee benefit dollars. And it was founded in April of 2021.
And so you started this business while you were a single parent. How is your child now, and how was your child when you started the business?
I have 6 children. So my children range in age at this point, 30, 26, 25, 19-year-old twins, and an 11-year-old. At that starting point, we were just, back up 4 years. And the twins were really super active in highly competitive athletics in USA volleyball, traveling. And my little one was just 7, 8 years old.
I didn't realize you had 6 children. I thought you had 1, perhaps 2.
And they're all girls. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. That has prepared me for entrepreneurship.
I bet. How did you and do you balance the competing priorities of startup and a family?
It's a lot. It is absolutely a job to keep your discipline, your schedule, and to not let certain things in your life slip. And there's going to be times when it's really not in balance. One is going to have more weight than the other. And then you're going to have to bring that back to, the equilibrium or the balancing act that feels good for you and your family. But there are definitely moments when it's almost impossible to be completely in balance.
So have they been supportive, would you say? Or were they like, what's this crazy idea of starting your own business? Why don't you just work for a company like everybody else?
They've been super supportive. One of my daughters is a registered nurse. She went ahead and got her insurance license. She takes a couple of weeks PTO every year during our busiest season and jumps in and helps. It's just very motivating to see them get excited about me doing this and them telling their friends, my mom's the CEO of this company, she's running this company. And they have a lot of pride in the fact that I'm finally doing this from the top rather than always being that number 2 or number 3 person within an organization. So I think there's a lot of beaming pride out of them. Of course, when I have to miss something, no one's loving that, but they're giving me the grace that this is exciting and we're building a business and we're making healthcare better. And 2 of them are in healthcare, another one's in nursing school. And so they're really passionate about the problem I'm solving.
I'm sure they see you as a role model.
Yes. A boss babe, that title, or they always want me to do some type of, vlogging of some type, but I'm not yet that confident to do those things. Yeah.
It sounds like nursing or the medical field runs through the family.
Yeah. I mean, I'm an accountant, so I was definitely more math and less medical, but my oldest is an OBGYN and my next oldest is a labor and delivery nurse. And then, the next oldest is working in an eye doctor. So still in some type of servicing to individuals. And then I've got 1 business student right now and 1 nursing student. So I'm heavily dominated by the medical field for my children.
Why is that? Do you have any idea?
I think, to be honest, I think they're caring and they really want to make a difference. And that's led them to nursing. I think, my 1 business student I'm pretty excited about because it's my first one yet. So I haven't motivated them to want to do business, but they're definitely out there improving society. And I think that's all we can hope for.
How have they impacted your entrepreneurial journey?
I think my girls have impacted everything about who I am. I really want to provide for their future. I really want to make the world a better place. I want to provide a good example. I think watching them get motivation or stretch themselves from seeing me stretch myself is something that's really given me the courage to start this entrepreneur journey and to be pushing through the hard things on the hard days.
Is there anything you wish you'd known before you started your company?
Yes. How hard it is to build traction in a new space. How hard it is to turn the large cruise ships that are carriers. A lot of their processes are, something that's been designed when we were still using paper fax machines. And I hadn't worked in a business setting where technology was so far behind in billion-dollar companies. So I think some of those things I wish I would have known would be hard to control in the overall outcome, but
Mm.
we're pushing through those. Yeah.
What do you think the financial challenges as the sole income earner and business owner are?
It's a lot of pressure. The sole income earner is a lot of pressure on a family in general. But when you're also in charge of a company that is volatile and trying to get to profitability so that there is always a ability to own your outcome, there are times when you don't have the right cash economics to have the right return for yourself. And that's the person who has to take that risk always is the entrepreneur. I am blessed that my co-founding team member, Bill Dudley, the VP of engineering, has also taken some of those bites with me at times, but it's risky. You end up having to sometimes take out credit card debt or, a second mortgage on a home to make your business work. And those are the points where you really find out what you're made of, what you believe in, and your passion for what you're doing.
What advice would you give to those single parents who want to start a business?
Yeah, I would say if I had it to do over again, I would. One of my processes of becoming the founding seat here is that I was actually originally hired as the operations lead. And so I had that push to really become the CEO of this organization when the CEO stepped aside. And had I actually sat down with a pen and a paper and thought about all of the risk involved, I'm not sure I would have done it. So I think that as a single parent, you need to ensure that you have your financial pieces in place that are extra cushions for those time periods, for the volatility of a startup, that you've set aside those additional savings and that you have your capitalization plan for that company well planned out before taking the jump away from your current career. Because I think putting your family on the line with you, if you don't have that fallback of a partner as well for your mortgage payment, it's really a lot for you. So ensuring that you have those things in place will allow you to sleep better at night. I know that that's the one thing that is the most stressful for me with kids and weddings and kids in college and things like that. The volatility of a startup has had some years that have been really hard to push through, but I'm happy to say we're on the other side of that now. But early on, I've heard a lot of founder success stories where there are 2 to 3 years that are very scary.
It takes a few years for any business to establish itself to start with, right? But
Yes.
where do you see yourself in 5 years with the business and your children?
Yeah, I see myself in 5 years thriving. This organization has been around 4 years this April. It will be 4 years old. And we are finally at the place where the organization is growing just rapidly. We have a larger team, so we can take some of those pressures of running as hard to do multiple roles off and bringing that balance back to my personal life a little bit. I also see myself being in a better financial freedom at that point because this organization will be thriving from a EBITDA perspective or from a cash flow positive perspective, and will be a very valuable part of the ecosystem of employee benefits.
I wish you all the best with your business. It sounds like a fascinating company. Definitely an interesting twist to entrepreneurship and family life.
I think the exciting part of it is, though, when you're backed into a corner is when you find out what you're made of, or when you step up to challenges that, you had enough courage to at least give it a try.
You're right. It says a lot about you.
Yes.
Thanks for the valuable insights, Brandy. I hope this will illuminate and perhaps encourage those who are thinking of doing the same.
Yes, thank you.
Support for this show comes from Western Carolina University, a campus of the University of North Carolina system, with the technical assistance of Kelly Minnis.